Before the show begins today, I feel I should offer an apology. Last week, after a series of distinguished actors released a video urging Republican electors to vote against Donald Trump, I made some remarks that may have seemed disrespectful to celebrity Americans. Some things I said may have given the impression that I see celebrity Americans as spoiled, self-important, overpaid, out of control, spoiled, overrated, self-important, and spoiled. In a moment of pique, I might have suggested that celebrities are merely clownish buffoons who have the ability to pretend to be characters more interesting, intelligent, brave, and decent than themselves, and who have therefore begun to believe that they are the interesting, intelligent, brave, or decent characters they sometimes pretend to be, instead of people who are shallow, uninteresting, dysfunctional, spoiled, self-important, and spoiled. At some point, I may have recklessly remarked that a lifetime of make-believe, divorce, and rehab hasn't really equipped these fine, upstanding celebrity Americans with the wisdom to comment on anything more important than what outfit they should wear to the next awards program, where they'll pat each other on the back for pretending to be people better than themselves. I am deeply sorry if anyone got the impression that that's what I was saying when I said that, or if anyone misconstrued my words to mean what I clearly intended them to mean. The fact is, for too many years, celebrity Americans have faced real prejudice in this country. Barred from living among the rest of us, they've been forced to take up residence in restricted neighborhoods like Beverly Hills and Malibu, where they eat and work far away from ordinary people. These conditions have forced celebrity Americans to congregate exclusively with one another so that their opinions develop in a social echo chamber that would distort the outlooks even of people with intelligence and grace, let alone people who only pretend to have intelligence and grace when they're being overpaid to say intelligent, graceful things that a writer wrote for them. Let's be honest. When a man like Martin Sheen tells electors that he'll respect them if they betray their trust in order to subvert an election and stall the peaceful transition of power, well, who am I to question whether anyone would actually want his respect or would rather have a used piece of toilet paper put in a frame so he could hang it next to his collection of shrunken heads? I mean, this is Martin Sheen we're talking about. He played the wisest president ever on the West Wing on TV. It's only in real life that he's Charlie Sheen's father. I say any man who participated in the creation of Charlie Sheen is a man I want telling me how to run this nation on TV in the West Wing. Obviously, not in real life. So, in conclusion, let me just say to any celebrity American who may have been offended by what I said, you're talented, you're beautiful, and everyone loves you. Now shut up and dance. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Merry Christmas. Gosh, wow. Hey, we've got something. Who's the girl and who's the babe?
That's Nicki Minaj dancing.
Yes. I actually did ask for that for Christmas. That is kind of a coincidence. And now just to show you, as a special, for those of you who are watching on the Daily Wire website, or if you subscribe, or if you don't subscribe and you're outside in the cold darkness of Facebook or YouTube, we have actually put dancers in with my opening now. We have the dance version. I don't know. I don't know who those kids are, but obviously damaged for life, right? exposed to something they shouldn't have seen. All right, it's the last week before Christmas, the last week before a long, long week, the ending of this week we lost Zsa Zsa Gabor. Somebody else died. The guy who invented the Heimlich maneuver died.
Really?
Yeah. Is that his name? It was something Heimlich, you know. And he saved many lives, but now he's gone. And, he choked to death. No, I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. All right, but Christmas is a-coming. If you have not got my memoir, The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ, you can get it now on Amazon. Read the reviews. You'll want it. And I'm what's that?
I got 3 copies.
Did you get 3 copies? God bless you. So that's, 3 more and we'll have sold 6 copies. No. Go on and take a look. I think you'll like it. And while you're there, you can still get my novel, Werewolf Cop, for $1.99 on Kindle. And it actually is a better novel than the title. I wish they had talked me out of that title, but they didn't. All right. And today, we're going to have Oscar-nominated cultural correspondent Michael Knowles reviewing the weekend's big movie release. So you'll want to be here for that. But of course, that comes after Facebook and YouTube go off the air. So you have to come over to the Daily Wire to hear it. And you can subscribe to the Daily Wire for a lousy $8 a month. And then you can be in the mailbag. This is the last mailbag. So you want to get your end of the year in questions now. All right, the Electoral College does vote today across the country, and all those people who are afraid of Donald Trump's America are phoning in death threats to electors because they don't want to live in the evil Donald Trump America, so they're creating their own evil America. It's like where you can threaten these guys. Everybody's saying there's nothing going to, it is still 2016, so anything can happen. Like these guys may elect like Donald Duck at this point. Who knows what they'll do? But it looks like all the insiders are saying it's not going to happen. Meanwhile, Obama and the media and Michelle Obama are examining the legacy of Barack Obama. And I have to say, for high comedy, has been nothing like it. I've never seen the just unctuous outpouring of idolizing praise. I mean, you think back and you remember this is a president that Brian Williams, a make-believe journalist, bowed to. This is a guy that they bowed to. This is the New York Times when he finally got an interview with the president said, What delights you? What delights you about the presidency? That was his hard question. When anybody ever asked a question of this guy, a hard question, a real question, they would say, isn't that disrespectful? And then now they're saying, oh, it's a scandal-free administration. So nobody likes this. Nobody has loved this administration more than Barack Obama. I mean, he's a smart man. He is not a stupid man. He has got to know in his heart that this is a busted presidency, because Donald Trump wouldn't have been elected if it hadn't been, right? After Ronald Reagan, there was no chance that Bush wasn't going to get elected because we wanted to keep that thing going. Everybody was happy. Everything was going well. Here's Obama in his final press conference telling everybody that the economy is great.
As I was preparing to take office, the unemployment rate was on its way to 10%. Today it's at 4.6%, the lowest in nearly a decade. We've seen the longest streak of job growth on record, and wages have grown faster over the past few years than at any time in the past 40. When I came into office, 44 million people were uninsured. Today, we've covered more than 20 million of them. For the first time in our history, more than 90% of Americans are insured. In fact, yesterday was the biggest day ever for healthcare.gov. More than 670,000 Americans signed up to get covered, and more are signing up by the day. We've cut our dependence on foreign oil by more than half, doubled production of renewable energy, enacted the most sweeping reform since FDR to protect consumers and prevent a crisis on Wall Street from punishing Main Street ever again. None of these actions stifled growth as critics predicted. Instead, the stock market has nearly tripled. Since I signed Obamacare into law, our businesses have added more than 15 million new jobs. And the economy is undoubtedly more durable than it was in the days when we relied on oil from unstable nations and banks took risky bets with your money.
So all that is great in the country he's living in. Unfortunately, none of us can get in that country. You have to climb in his ear to get to that country and go up into his brain. The thing is, everything he says there almost everything he says is completely ridiculous. He talks about, he says growth is great because the stock market's going up. The stock market has nothing to do with growth. The stock market, there's cheap money. There's no interest on money, so people have nowhere to go to earn money but the stock market. So, of course, the stock market is skyrocketing. The minute interest rates start to go up, things could change very rapidly. But that's not growth. Take a look at the way growth has been that little nub over there, really it should be smaller because it's only in the last few months that growth has gone up. But that little nub over there is smaller than all the other presidents before it. That's how much the economy has grown under Barack Obama. This has been one of the worst seasons of growth, and that's doubly bad because remember, he came in during a crash. So things were going to get better. He came in during a massive crash. Things were going to get better. They should have gotten better. You know, even a dead cat bounces, right? They should have gotten better hugely. Should have been bigly. You know, the thing should have skyrocketed. On top of which, take a look at the debt chart. Whoa, that's the debt under Barack Obama, that gigantic line that looks like what the World Trade Center used to be like before it was destroyed. That line is the debt line. He has just plunged us into debt, so nothing he's done has been paid for. The idea that he's bragging about Obamacare, this absolute jalopy of a breakdown jalopy of a machine that nobody even knows how it works or what it does, just forces people to do all this stuff. Just amazing. And the most important point is if the economy were going well, if the economy, and the worst one is the unemployment rate, because the real unemployment rate is up around 10%. The unemployment rate of people who want jobs but don't have them or who want to work more is close to 10%. If the unemployment rate were really where they say it is, would people have shown up for Donald Trump the way they did? I mean, come on. That is an unemployment election. Here, in the New Republic, they had this roundtable of journalists. The New Republic is the left-wing magazine. They had this roundtable of journalists falling over each other to see who could praise Obama more and explain away his faults more. My favorite is this. Nell Painter says, "I don't think it has anything to do with him except that he's a black man. The election of Trump was a gut-level response to what many Americans interpreted as an insult 8 years ago and have been seething against ever since." They're all saying that. All these journalists are saying that. It's all about the fact that he's black and this is the rebellion. Same people who voted for Trump voted for Obama. It's the same people. They couldn't suddenly have become racist overnight, but that's their explanation. Because they're all on the same planet. They're all on planet Obama. They don't know what happened. All right, so here's Obama on his foreign policy, which is a true laugh.
In foreign policy, when I came into office, we were in the midst of 2 wars. Now nearly 180,000 troops are down to 15,000. Bin Laden, rather than being at large, has been taken off the battlefield along with thousands of other terrorists. Over the past 8 years, no foreign terrorist organization has successfully executed an attack on our homeland that was directed from overseas. Through diplomacy, we've ensured that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon without going to war with Iran. We opened up a new chapter with the people of Cuba, and we brought nearly 200 nations together around a climate agreement that could very well save this planet for our kids. And almost every country on earth sees America as stronger and more respected today than they did 8 years ago. In other words, by so many measures, our country is stronger and more prosperous than it was when we started. It's a situation that I'm proud to leave for my successor.
Imagination is funny. It makes a cloudy day sunny. What is he talking about? America is more respected. I'll tell you one person who doesn't respect America very much, and that's Vladimir Putin, who sat around and listened to Barack Obama making threats about what he was going to do and how he was, the red line that he was going to draw. And then, the reason Aleppo, I keep going back to Aleppo because people are being murdered, children are being murdered. It's just this awful, awful, depressing situation. But it's a symbol of his malfeasance, it's a symbol of his foreign policy. This has happened throughout the Middle East and throughout the world. And you can say, well, what are we supposed to do? Fight in every war? You don't have to fight in every war. You just have to make your words matter. I mean, you think Vladimir Putin is sitting around worrying about what hashtag Michelle Obama is going to hold up next as he goes marching through the Middle East, making friends with the bad guys and killing off the good guys? Vladimir Putin could care less if there's a hashtag, stop it, you rotten Putin. It's like he doesn't care. And all the stuff that Obama said. Krauthammer had a really good description. Let's listen to Krauthammer describe how Aleppo got to be Aleppo.
Obama imagines that the Obama deal is his legacy. It is not. Aleppo is his legacy. History will remember this as kind of a symbolism of the whole policy of retreat and the inevitable outcome. It's not as if this civil war was going to go one way or the other because of what the United States did. The Civil War was essentially in some kind of equilibrium a year and a half ago when the Russians decided that their side, Assad, was losing. The rebels were actually on the advance in Aleppo and elsewhere. He stepped in to rescue Assad, but then he saw there was no response on the part of the West, no penalties whatsoever, even economic, coming from the United States, and he decided to drive the advantage. And we are reduced now to getting speeches from our UN spokesman pleading, saying to the Iranians and the Russians and to Assad, have you no shame, have you no pity? The answer is obvious. They have none. The only thing that could have stopped this ultimately would have been some kind of deterrent from the United States, warning from the United States to keep the Russians out. We didn't, and now we have what we have.
Okay, Oscar-nominated cultural correspondent Michael Knowles is coming on to discuss the big movie release of the weekend, but we have to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Come over to thedailywire.com. You can listen to the rest of the show or watch it if you would part with just a little bit of money for the great privilege of being part of our mailbag. See you there.